Okay.
Thank you. Would the city clerk please take roll?
Okay. Karen Adams. Joseph DeMott.
Here.
Karen Berry. Joyce J.
Here.
Davis Reinhardt.
Here.
Tracy Langworthy.
Here.
Wanda Sang.
Here.
And Mike Stites.
Here.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of April 25th, 2011?
Second.
A motion for approval, second by Councilmember Stites. Any discussion on the minutes? Please poll the council.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you. We have several proclamations and ceremonies tonight, so I will run down to the podium. Our first presentation tonight is by Roberta Fisher and Denise Balkus from Weavers 2020 for the Planning and Development Academy that we have some citizens in. So would you please step forward?
Thank you, Mayor and members of council. This is our 5th Planning Academy, and it will bring the total of graduates to 88. Several people could not make it tonight, but I will read all their names. And for those of you that are here, please come up and get your diploma. Angela Montgomery. Not here. Brad Sandler. Brian DeLay. Chad Mitchell, Christian Thompson, Holly Heaton, Jerry Roach, Megan Aller and Millie Nadler. Peter Marks. And Russ Heaton and Sheila Elliott. That's our class.
I'd like to congratulate everybody who went through the program. I'd like to call Mrs. Wheatridge up, Karen Thaler for District 1. She will read our proclamations tonight on my behalf. The first proclamation is Mental Health Month. We have Chris Huser, Julie DiTullio, and Paul Barnett here to accept the proclamation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council, citizens of Wheat Ridge, good evening. Whereas mental illnesses and substance abuse disorders are treatable and recovery is possible when appropriate treatment services are available and accessible, and whereas mental health is a key component to a person's overall health, and to any effort to reform the healthcare system must comprehensively include mental health in order to realize marked improvements in access, cost, efficiency, quality, and sustainability. And whereas persons with mental health and substance abuse disorders who have access to local, community-based prevention, intervention, and treatment services are much less likely to require the more expensive alternatives of hospitalization or incarceration, and their chances of becoming homeless are greatly reduced. And whereas while families of soldiers serving abroad must cope with the absence of a spouse or loved one, and upon the return of that soldier with possible readjustment issues and post-traumatic stress disorder related problems, there are currently no mental health services provided by the Department of Veterans Affairs to the families of veterans. And whereas the demand for mental health and substance abuse treatment has reached record levels in Colorado. Now therefore I, Jerry DiTullio, Mayor of the City of Wheat Ridge, do hereby proclaim May 2011 Mental Health Month. and call upon all citizens, government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, and schools to recommit our communities and resources to increasing awareness and understanding of mental health, providing appropriate and accessible services for all citizens, and making mental health a priority.
Thank you very much. My name is Paul Barnett. I'm the Manager of Vocational Services at Jefferson Center for Mental Health. And on behalf of the staff, the board, and the clients of Jefferson Center, I'd just like to say thank you very much for issuing this proclamation and supporting mental health. And I'd like to introduce two folks who came with me today. One is Julie DiTullio on the Jefferson Center for Mental Health Foundation board. And also Chris Hooser, who is a member of Summit Center, which is one of our facilities here in Wheat Ridge. This is Chris. Chris, would you like to say a word? Okay. All right. Just wanted to say one thing very quickly. Really do appreciate the support and wanted to give you a couple of numbers. In 2010, Jefferson Center served 18,000 clients. That's compared to 6,000 in 2008. So our numbers are going up very rapidly. In fact, the month of March, we had 490-something new referrals just in the month of March alone. So we're obviously working very hard to keep up with that demand. Thank you very much for your support.
The next proclamation tonight we have is supporting a charity concert for the children in Rabanal, Guatemala. I ask Natalie Fadak to come forward and also Mike Schmidt.
Whereas Wheat Ridge High School Student Senate and Teens Against Genocide are presenting a charity concert to be held at Wheat Ridge High School to provide scholarships for the children of Rabanal, Guatemala. And whereas many families in Rabanal, Guatemala were massacred in the 1980s by their government, and without these scholarships, the Mayan children would not receive an education past the 5th grade. And whereas the Wheat Ridge High School Senate is hosting a charity concert on May 11th at the high school outdoor turf field at 7:30 p.m. with 2 local bands, Ever Hopefuls and In Due Time, providing entertainment. And whereas the concert is free for one and all to attend, donations will be accepted to provide scholarships for the children in Rabanal, Guatemala. And now therefore be it resolved that I, Jerry DiTullio, Mayor of the City of Wheat Ridge, do support the students of Wheat Ridge High School on May 11th, 2011 at 7:30 p.m. and encourage citizens of Wheat Ridge to attend the charity concert and participate the fundraiser to provide scholarships for the children in Rabanal, and witness thereof on this 9th day of May, 2011.
I'd like to thank all of you for being here today. This is a cause really close to my heart, and I thank you for supporting Senate and Teens Against Genocide and helping to change the world one step at a time. Thank you.
Just real quick, my name is Mike Schmidt. I'm a teacher over at Wheat Ridge High School. I'm the student council advisor, and this year I challenged all my students to create a big project that would help a group of people that was really in need. And a lot of the students did help students in the school, book drives and canned food drives and stuff like that. Natalie was the only one who really thought on a global scale, and I am very proud of her for that. So thank you for issuing this to us.
Yes, Mike is a teacher at the school, and he's a math teacher, a very good one, so congratulations, Mike. The next proclamation we have is Emergency Medical Services Week. I was going to ask our police chief to come forward. I know we have some folks from the fire department and EMS services, so please step forward, and we'll have the proclamation read. And please feel free to say a few words from the fire department, EMS, and also our police chief.
Whereas emergency medical services is a vital public service, and whereas the members of emergency medical services teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury, and whereas the emergency medical services system consists of emergency physicians, emergency nurses, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, firefighters, educators, administrators, and others. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of emergency medical services providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week. And now, therefore, I, Jerry DiTullio, Mayor of the City of Wheat Ridge, Colorado, in recognition of this event, do hereby proclaim the week of May 15th through the 21st, 2011, as Emergency Medical Services Week, and encourage the community to observe this week with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities, and witness thereof on this 9th day of May, 2011.
Mr. Mayor and Council, staff, and Ms. Wheat Ridge 2011. Thank you very much for the proclamation. Obviously, EMS is a system consisting of dispatchers that take the call, our partners in law enforcement, the Wheat Ridge Fire Protection District, and the paramedics from Pridemark. And I'm sorry, my name is David Patterson with Pridemark. And the system it's a great week for us to honor the professionals and volunteers who do take care of our community and our visitors. It's also a week to focus on prevention efforts, because the best thing about EMS is when you don't have to use us. And we do have some programs going on throughout the week, so I encourage you to give us a call. But thank you very much.
Members of Council, Mr. Mayor, as a paramedic who's served in the community of Wheat Ridge for many years now, I am honored, and we are very appreciative for this acknowledgement, and continue to hope to serve the community to the best of our abilities, and just want to say thank you.
I'm Bob Dowling, Assistant Chief with the Wheat Ridge Fire Department, and actually I'm going to kill two birds with one stone. I'd like to invite the Council, Mayor, and members of the community of Wheat Ridge. We're going to be having an open house on Sunday at Wheat Ridge Fire Station 1, 3830 Allison Court, 3830 Upham. Allison Court's where I live. It goes from 9 to 10. There'll be a lot of fun, all kinds of activities. Thank you.
Bob, if you're going to have hamburgers and brats, we'll be there. Hot dogs. I just wanted to let council know that from a police perspective, we have a very collaborative working partnership both with Pridemark Paramedic Services and with the fire districts that serve our community. We've provided, I think, an exceptional service from an EMS perspective to our citizens and the visitors who come through our community, and I really applaud the work from our fire districts and from Pridemark in terms of providing that exceptional level of service. So thank you.
The last proclamation we have tonight is National Police Week, so I'll ask the Chief to stay for that one. And Mrs. Wheat Ridge will read that last proclamation.
Whereas the Congress and President of the United States have designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the week in which May 15th falls as National Police Week. And whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their police department, and that members of the Wheat Ridge Police Department recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. Therefore be it resolved that the City of Wheat Ridge calls upon all citizens of Wheat Ridge and upon all patriotic, civic, and educational organizations to observe the week of May 15th, 2011 as Police Week, with appropriate ceremonies and observances in which all of our people may join in commemorating law enforcement officers, past and present, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to their communities, and in so doing have established for themselves an inviolable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and security of all citizens. The City of Wheat Ridge further calls upon all citizens of Wheat Ridge to observe May 15th, 2011 as Peace Officers Memorial Day, in honor of those law enforcement officers who, through their courageous deeds, have made the ultimate sacrifice and services to their community or have become disabled in the performance of duty. And let us recognize and pay respect to the survivors of our fallen heroes. Done and resolved this 9th day of May, 2011.
Really quick, I know that surprises you, but very, very quickly. Friday, I got the opportunity to go to the state commemoration of Law Enforcement Officers Week. We added 6 names of law enforcement officers who were killed in the line of duty. One was Deputy Sam Brownlee, who was a Weld County deputy who was shot and killed late last year during a pursuit that had come from Fort Morgan into the town of Evans. And then the state and their police historical committee found 5 other officers, marshals, sheriffs, who were killed in the line of duty in Colorado dating back as far as 1864. So on behalf of those names that we have added to that, I'd ask you all to give some thought to what your police officers do on a daily basis in terms of putting their lives at risk, providing services to the community. And on behalf of the men and women who serve the Wheat Ridge Police Department, I'd like to thank the Mayor and City Council for all of your support, your continued support, and your willingness to move the City of Wheat Ridge forward from a public safety perspective. Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is citizens' right to speak. Is reserved for members of the public who wish to speak on any item not on the agenda. Speakers are allowed 3 minutes. Others may donate their time to the speaker at the podium for a total of 9 minutes. When you are speaking at the podium, you will see a green light when you start speaking, a yellow light when you have 30 seconds left, and a red light when your time is up. So please step forward to speak on any item not on the agenda at the podium for public comment. Please spell your last name for the record.
Thank you. My name is Larry Schultz, S-C-H-U-L-Z. I live at 4675 Swadley Street here in Wheat Ridge. And I'm here tonight to announce that I like being your city treasurer, and I'm running for re-election. It doesn't seem like 4 years ago that I ran and became treasurer. And it's been something I've enjoyed doing. I think I've given faithful service to the city. In looking back on things, I remember I was at that first meeting back in 2004, I guess, when we heard a major retailer was looking at coming into Wheat Ridge, and it's interesting that tonight you'll be passing another major milestone in that process. Since becoming treasurer, the economy has sunk a little bit. We've had some trying times. The city's had to make some adjustments, but those have been made without damaging our city's service level. In terms of investments, one of my main jobs is investing our funds, and the return rate has been down, but fortunately we've never lost any principal invested on behalf of the city of Wheat Ridge. And we're starting to see that things might pick up and look a little better in the future, and I look forward to continuing to serve and help that come across. I do have a couple things in mind as goals for the office of the treasurer. One of those is, one of the most amazing things I've learned is how complex it is for small businesses to collect and process the taxes they collect. You'd think 3% sales tax, how complicated can that be, right? Or use tax, 3%, how hard is that to do? But for businesses doing business with folks from a number of municipalities and so on and so forth, it gets very complex. And our auditors spend a lot of time educating our small businesses so they can do a better job for us. I want to find a resource that will come online and assist our small businesses to simplify that collection process, being sure they know where what they collect needs to go, and simplify the manner of them paying those to the city on a regular basis. So that's one of my goals. Another thing I'm looking at is transparency of city transactions. And that's not a real simple thing to do. There would be some investment in technology to make it happen. But it's something that would be nice to have so that folks can go to their website and find out what the city's been doing. With that, I've always faced my job with honesty and integrity, truthfulness, and fairly bluntness and directness. And I appreciate the confidence the community has shown in me up to now, and I hope you'll continue to show that confidence. I would really appreciate your vote and your continued support. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Britta Fisher. I'm here at FISHER. I'm here as the Executive Director of Wheat Ridge 2020 and also a resident of District 1. I first off wanted to start by thanking Mr. Mayor and the City Council and all the city leadership for supporting our Wheat Ridge Planning and Development Academy. As Denise mentioned earlier, we have nearly 90 graduates from that program. And these are citizens, residents who are now trained in what occurs in the development process. As elected officials, you see many aspects of that process come along, and I just thank you for your support in sending continued residents and citizens to our academy to get trained and educated in that area. If there are any citizens who are watching this tonight, if you are interested in our Planning and Development Academy, you can get that information from our website, wheatridge2020.org. We also want to acknowledge the city staff and our colleagues at Live Well Wheat Ridge and my colleague Denise at Wheat Ridge 2020, who have all been participating in the staff committee on 38th Avenue. We're making some great progress and want to make sure the citizens remember that they can come on Tuesday, May 17th, 6:30 to 8:30 for the next 38th Avenue public meeting at Wheat Ridge Middle School. Not sure if you have big plans for Norwegian Independence Day that night, but if not, come and have your voices heard for the 38th Avenue public meeting. It's going to be a pretty fun meeting. We're going to actually look at what the street options are. So you'll see drawings and things to comment on. And then finally, I'm going to give the clerk some. We have our next Live Local event. As you know, Wheat Ridge 2020 is sponsoring a series of events to support our local businesses, help locals meet one another, and get some sales tax generated at some of our local businesses. The next event is this Thursday, May 12th, 6 to 9 p.m., and it is at Wheat Ridge Lanes. So there will be some great bowling specials. So everybody out there who likes bowling, 99-cent games. Can't beat that. And $2 bottles and drafts and all sorts of fun. So come, win prizes, and meet some of your neighbors and spend some money at a great Wheat Ridge business. Thank you all.
Thank you. Do we have anybody here for public comment on any item not on the agenda tonight? Seeing none, we'll go to approval of the agenda. By unanimous consent, council can move item 8 under public hearings and ordinances on second reading. Does anybody have a problem having number 8 as a public hearing under public hearings? So the agenda will stand as amended by unanimous consent. And item 1 is consent agenda. Councilmember Langworthy.
Thank you, Mayor. 1A, a motion to approve the annual renewal for the licensing and support of the ShoreTel telecommunications system in the amount of $16,405 payable to OCX. And 1B, a motion to approve the annual support and licensing renewal for the Cartograph system in the amount of $41,301 payable to Cartograph, Inc. Is a motion in order?
Motion's in order.
I move to approve 1A and 1B.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion to approve items 1A and B, seconded by Councilmember Reinhardt. Discussion? Please poll the council.
And the motion carries 8-0.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is public hearings and ordinances on second reading. The order of testimony will be city staff, the applicant, and then public, followed by council discussion and questions. Please keep all comments germane to the subject. Item 2 is Council Bill 16-2011. We're going to open the public hearing. Councilmember Jay.
Council Bill number 16-2011, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Article 1 of the Wheat Ridge Code of Laws, authorizing the city to contract for collection of outstanding debts due to the city. at issue. There are outstanding fines, fees, and restitution due to the municipal court not successfully collected by the multiple methods currently authorized and are utilized by the municipal court. The utilization of a private collection agency would add an additional tool to assist with the collection of these outstanding fines, fees, and restitution. The authority for the state court to utilize a private collection agency to collect outstanding debt is found in State Statute CRS 16-11-101-.6. Collection of fines and fees, methods, charges. It states in part, to collect on past due orders of fines or fees, the state may employ any method available to collect state receivables, including assigning such accounts to private counsel or private collection agencies under Section 24-30-202.42 in parentheses CRS. Any fees or costs of the private counsel or collection agency shall also be added to the amount due, but such fees and costs shall not exceed 25% of the amount collected. The proposed City of Wheat Ridge Ordinance 2-8, collection of outstanding debt, would provide local authority to utilize a private collection agency to collect outstanding and unpaid fines, costs, charges, restitution, or other amounts owed to the city by any person.
Thank you. Would the city clerk please assign an ordinance number?
Yes, Council Bill 16-2011 will be assigned ordinance number 1489.
Thank you. Do we have any staff presentation beyond the executive summary?
Nothing to add, no.
Do we have anybody from the public for item number 3? Item number 2. Item number 2. Please step forward for item number 2. Seeing none, we'll move on to council questions and discussion on item number 2. I'm going to close the public hearing and a motion's in order.
I move to approve Council Bill number 16-2011 on second reading and that it take effect 15 days after final publication.
Is there a second? We have a motion for approval, seconded by Councilmember Sang. Discussion on the main motion. Please poll the council.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you. Item 3 is Council Bill 15-2011. The public hearing has already been open and an ordinance number was already assigned. So do we have anybody here from the public to speak before we continue this to May 23rd? Seeing none, a motion's in order. Mr. Stice.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to continue hearing on Council Bill number 15, 2011, Series 2011, and ordinance temporarily waiving 2 cents of the city's sales tax within the boundaries of the Longs Peak Metropolitan District until May 23, 2011 at 7 p.m. in the City Council chambers.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion for approval, seconded by Councilmember Adams. Discussion on the postponement or continuation. Please poll the council.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you. Item 4 is consideration of a motion establishing a business development zone district. I'm going to open the public hearing. Councilmember DeMott.
Thank you. Public hearing considering number 1, a motion establishing a business development zone to be known as Reglera Business Development Zone, and 2, approving an agreement to participate in said zone in conjunction therewith. Code of Laws, Chapter 22, Article 1, Division 5 establishes an economic development tool known as the Business Development Zone Program. The goal of the program is to encourage the development of private sector jobs, revitalize deteriorating areas of the city, and encourage the development, redevelopment, and expansion of business within the city. This tool allows the City Council to waive certain building permit fees and building use taxes in association with construction projects that occur in established business development zones. The tool is intended to be used to refund fees or taxes for projects that have the potential to generate additional future sales and use tax, or that more generally provide substantial public benefit to the city. Reglera is relocating from Lakewood to Wheat Ridge and will occupy 17,500 square feet of flex industrial space. Within 18 months of occupancy, Reglera anticipates occupying an additional 6,000 square feet, providing for additional space, creating a state-of-the-art pilot plant for disposable medical device prototype activities. Reglera is a regulatory affairs and quality assurance company providing consulting and outsourcing services to the medical device and human tissue industries. They provide these services across the entire size range of companies, from the largest multinational medical device companies to the world's to the smallest startup medical device companies and reproductive clinics. Reglera currently employs 45 W-2 employees, but also utilizes 15 or more 1099 specialists in assembling out teams. These employees are primary technical in background. Reglera plans to grow this employee and 1099 base to 75 or greater with the addition of the above-mentioned 6,000 square feet.
Thank you. Do we have any staff presentation beyond the executive summary? Seeing none from Mr. Art. Do we have anybody here from the public to speak on item number 4? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. A motion's in order.
Thank you. Motion number 1, I move to designate the property located at 11925 West I-70 Frontage Road, Wheat Ridge, Colorado 80033, a business development zone pursuant to Code Section 22, Division 5.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion for approval, was seconded by Councilmember Langworthy. Discussion on the main motion for item 4. Please poll the council.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you. Switching gears here a little bit, we are on item 8, which is resolution.
Wait, no, there was a second motion.
Sorry. Okay, second motion. Sorry.
Second motion, sorry. I move to approve an agreement to participate with Reglera LLC under the terms of the city's Business Development Zone program and set the amount of the refund of the eligible use taxes at 50%.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion for approval on the 50%, seconded by Councilmember Langworthy. Discussion on that main motion. Please poll the council.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you. Is there any more motions, Mr. DeMont? Thank you. Now switching gears, we'll move on to item 8 under public hearings, Resolution 11-2011. I'm going to open the public hearing. Councilmember Stites.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's with great pleasure that I introduce Resolution number 11, 2011, a resolution approving a 15-lot subdivision plat on property zone planned commercial development located at 4000 Cabela Drive and 4105 Youngfield Service Road, case number WS 1101, Clear Creek Crossing.
So we don't need a ordinance number. Staff presentation? Please state your name and spell your last name for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Meredith Record, Wheat Ridge Community Development Department Senior Planner. Case number WS 11-01 is request for approval of a subdivision plat on property located at 4105 Youngfield Service Road and 4000 Cabela Drive. The applicants are requesting approval of the 15-lot subdivision for the purpose of accommodating the new development scenario for the property and for the new street alignments and so on. I'd like to enter into the record the case file and packet materials, contents of this digital presentation, the zoning ordinance, and the subdivision regulations. The property is within the city of Wheat Ridge, and all posting and notification requirements have been met. Therefore, there's jurisdiction to hear the case. This aerial photo should look pretty familiar to everybody. We've looked at it many, many times. On April 25th, there was an annexation of about 36 acres of property with an outline development plan, zoning, and a specific outline development plan approved for the 210 acres shown within the red outline. This is the last piece of the Clear Creek Crossing development. It does contain 210 acres, access points from West 40th Avenue under Youngfield via the underpass, Youngfield Service Road extended from 32nd Avenue, and the Southern Service Road for Highway 58. I do not have slides of the property. We've seen those a couple of times already, so I'll just proceed quickly with the report. The property is surrounded by a variety of land uses, including property to the south, Zone PCD along 32nd Avenue, which is within the city. On the east side of I-70 is the Applewood Shopping Center. And to the north of Highway 58 is the 44th Avenue Industrial Park, which was annexed and incorporated into the city around 1999.
and to the west is land owned by Coors utilized for their brewing operations. The property was originally subdivided around 2006 for the prior development that was proposed that I believe included about 98 acres. Instead of going through all 9 sheets of the subdivision, I'd just like to focus on the highlights. The intent of the subdivision plat this evening is to incorporate, of course, the TMAC parcel, the usable portion of that, which was annexed on April 25th. It would accommodate the new development scenario approved pursuant to case number WZ11-02, which was the specific outline development plan also approved on April 25th. Slight realignment of Cabela Drive, realignment of 40th Avenue as it intersects Cabela Drive, and then also the dedication of a new interior street called Clear Creek Crossing. It's a rather large technical document. The first few sheets really take care of a series of vacations that need to occur for the existing rights-of-way, also some of the easements that were dedicated by the prior document regarding drainage and access. And then the final few sheets in the plans, that I believe it's 6 through 9, rededicate the new alignment for the right-of-way and so on. I would like to point out one modification. Subsequent to the Planning Commission review, there was a major access easement which provided secondary access from Cabela Drive across the property to the west to the Cabela store, which was removed from the plat document that you're looking at tonight. The location of this easement for the prior document was in this location. Staff would note that because of the traffic impact analysis and the specific ODP are based on the location and functionality of this easement, that we would like that added back in as a condition of approval. The applicant has agreed to this, and that was included in staff's recommended motion. I also believe that Mr. Dahl has one additional item he would like added in, and I will turn that over to him.
I do, thank you. It was pointed out that for subdivisions we always require a subdivision improvements agreement, and that wasn't in this list of conditions, and I'd like to add it. The reason being that for the omission is that we've been focusing on the intergovernmental agreement between the city and the Longs Peak Metropolitan District for the funding and construction of all of the major infrastructure improvements, for this site. And honestly, that IGA, which we're still in the process of completing and will be brought to you soon, we hope, will cover a number of the things that are traditionally covered in our standard form of SIA, Subdivision Improvements Agreement, but probably not all things. There are probably some mechanical things, maybe some phasing issues, and possibly some requirements for security for construction improvements that we still need to have done. And so what I'd like is to add as a fifth condition to the list that a subdivision improvements agreement shall be executed for those matters not addressed in the intergovernmental agreement with the Longs Peak Metropolitan District. And when you get to the point where you're making a motion, I can help with providing that language again, so that can be made in the motion. We'll just insert it in the resolution, and we'll have that handled.
That's number 5?
Mm-hmm. Condition 5, yes, that's right.
So after Mr. Stikes makes the motion, I'll turn it over to you to read that into the record.
That's great, thanks.
Okay.
Okay, this subdivision process has gone through the regular referral that we typically do with notifying all the outside agencies. All the responding agencies can serve the property with upgrades at the developer's expense. Wheat Ridge Public Works has reviewed and approved a master drainage report for the property, and that is accommodated by the easement dedications on the plat. There are still a few outstanding comments that need to be taken care of prior to recording, and again, this was included as a condition in Council's motion. Planning Commission reviewed this request at a public hearing held on April 7th, 2011. They did give a recommendation of approval with conditions, and instead of making those changes and then moving forward with council, we thought we'd just wait all till the end. So Planning Commission's recommended conditions have been included as well in the council motion. Staff does support this proposal because for 2 reasons. The proposed plat meets the requirements of Article 4 of the Wheat Ridge subdivision regulations, and that the proposed subdivision will accommodate the new development scenario. We are giving a recommendation of approval with 4 conditions. Now there was a 5th one pursuant to Mr. Dahl's comment. That would conclude the staff report. I'd be happy to answer questions.
Thank you. We'll move on to applicant presentation. Please display your last name for the record and state your city or your address.
Hello, my name is Lori Baker, B-A-K-E-R, 410 17th Street, Denver, Colorado. I'm here tonight as land use counsel for Cabela's. Also here tonight is John Moore of Martin & Martin. He's going to walk you through in a little bit more detail the plat, but we're going to do it rather quickly. I'd also like to let you know that Don McDonald of Coors is here, and he's here to support us. We're happy to be here. We were here a couple of weeks ago, and thank you for your approval of the concept ODP for Clear Creek Crossing and the specific ODP for several areas. As Meredith already said, this plat essentially implements the vision that's shown in those approvals from a few weeks ago. We're requesting your approval of the Clear Creek Crossing subdivision, filing number 1, and that is an amendment to the 2006 plat, which you approved, which accommodated the prior development vision for this project. There's a couple highlighted changes that we just wanted to bring to your attention. Meredith already alluded to them. I'll say it real quick again. We're adding 33 acres into the Clear Creek Crossing project area. This is the area that you approved the annexation of a few weeks ago. We're also reconfiguring the lots, and now it's about 15 lots and 5 tracks. I believe your staff report may say 4 tracks, but there is now a tract E, which is the CDOT ramps that are being dedicated as part of this project. Other couple changes is a realignment of some of the roads, West 40th Avenue, realignment of Cabela Drive, and the addition of a new roadway, Clear Creek Drive. We went through this in rather detail a couple of weeks ago with our traffic engineer, so we won't be doing that again, but basically this plat just implements the traffic and the access vision which you reviewed previously. With that, I am going to turn the microphone over to John Moore of Martin Martin to walk through in more detail the plat.
Please spell your name for the record.
Good evening. John Moore, M-O-O-R-E, 13950 West 32nd Avenue, Golden, Colorado, 80401. I work for Martin Martin Consulting Engineers. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. I want to thank you guys for taking a quick minute to look this stuff over with us. We'll make this very brief. I want to also thank staff, specifically Meredith and Dave Brossman, Tim Perano. This has been a very complex plat, and it's been a lot of work to get to this point, and I appreciate their help in helping me get there. All right, so this is our first slide. We don't have very many. I'll make it very quick. I know time is of the essence. So this is our final overview. This is our goal. This is what we're trying to accomplish, which is a re-subdivision of 15 lots and 5 tracks. So to get there, as Meredith indicated, we're going to have several sheets, 2 through 5, that are going to be the vacation sheets. Most notably, these sheets took care of the vacation of Cabela's right-of-way. Originally, we were just going to rededicate a certain portion here and realign it along with 40th Avenue. But as time progressed in the project, it got more complicated, and other factors came into play to bring this project into alignment with the updated Felsberg-Holt-Ullevig traffic report. That traffic report pointed out the need for dedicated right turn lanes and their tapers, which increased the right-of-way width of the road, along with your new streetscape criteria, which increased the minimum widths for sidewalks and the landscape buffers between the walks and the roads. So in the long and the short of it, it became evident that maybe we just, with staff's approval, just vacate the entire right-of-way of all the roadways and then start fresh with a new set of canvas that we can work from. This slide shows the incorporation of the Jefferson County property. This is the old T-Max site that we put on there for just to get yourselves a little landmark. This is the 33 acres that we've incorporated and annexed in. It's now included in the right-of-way of the plat, in the boundary of the plat. These drainage easements are being vacated and rededicated in different spots. This was a temporary sedimentation trap. These easements are going to be reconfigured so that the regional water quality structure, once constructed, will be in this region here. So we're vacating all of those. This is the first slide that shows the dedication of the new Cabela's and the other roadways. You can see the alignment for Cabela's to the naked eye looks about the same, but there's some slight changes, mostly in width. 40th Avenue has been completely vacated and realigned in this area here. And then, of course, we've got the new roadway that Lori mentioned, Clear Creek Drive. That's a new public right-of-way there, and a larger, correct tract E size for the I-70 on and off hook ramps. This shows what's going to happen with Jefferson County parcel. It's going to be broken up so that part of it can be conveyed to Cabela's as the purchase parcel. Part of it's going to be conveyed to the Longs Peak Metro District as a series of tracts. Here's where we bring back the drainage easement for the regional water quality pond. That's going to be tract D. Here we show our neighbors of Coors and how they were affected, which is minimally. Their existing water storage facility is unchanged, and their lots look to be unchanged from 2006, but in reality, when the roadways got a little wider, their lots just got a little bit smaller. And this shows conceptually the vision that we have for the development and the conveyance of the parcels. Once the plat has been recorded, it shows you that we have the 15 lots and the 5 tracts that can be conveyed for the development of Clear Creek Crossing. And that's all I have, and I'll let Lori close.
We just wanted to thank the mayor, council members, staff, for all your hard work once again, and we'd like to request your approval of the Clear Creek Crossing subdivision filing number 1. It complies with the subdivision regulations of your code and the ODP for Clear Creek Crossing, both the specific and concept. I also just wanted to note that we do agree with all 5 conditions, including the one that was just added with regard to the subdivision and improvement agreement. And with that, if you have any questions, John and I are standing by. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to public comment. Do we have anybody here to speak on item 8 for public comment? Please step forward and spell your last name for the record.
Hello, my name is Ted Hyde. My last name is spelled H-E-Y-D. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I just first a comment in relation to the Clear Creek Crossing proposal being considered tonight. I would first like to revisit the issue of an RTD stop and a service route within the proposed development. The applicant's land use council informed us at the last city council meeting that the applicant has had past discussions with RTD about this issue, and that RTD is yet to decide, or at least has not moved forward with preliminary plans for a stop or a route. Hopefully, with your direction, the applicant could revisit the feasibility of a route and a stop within the site prior to issuance of a certificate of occupancy. Now, I realize the provision of service may rest primarily or exclusively with RTD, but given the number of employees, customers, and other people that will be in and out of that site on any given day, and I realistically think we're talking about the thousands of people, it seems remiss not to have at least a plan for moving this discussion forward in some fashion. Second, and in the larger picture, Molly Hanson and I are completing the Coalition's quarterly newsletter, and having just written my pieces for it, it was very affirming for me to revisit recent and ongoing successes in Wheat Ridge related to healthy eating and active living. We'll be sharing the newsletter with each of you when it's available, but some of the highlights in terms of stories were adoption of the Streetscape Manual recently, the Residential Zoning Code Guide for Urban Agriculture, which I know Council Member Berry was instrumental in creating, the proposed zoning code revisions relating to urban agriculture, the TIP award for the 3/4 mile path that will take place along Kipling from 32nd to 44th, and planning for active transportation at this year's Carnation Festival. Many of these were continue to be successful through partnerships between city staff, Live Well staff, and members of the community, and many of you as well. It's also very affirming to know that communities throughout the Denver metro area and actually the state are pursuing healthy eating and active living with similar enthusiasm and through meaningful partnerships. In addition to my work with Live Well, I'm assisting Live Well Colorado and the state's Department of Health and Environment with a best practice inventory from around the state. It's been very enlightening and encouraging to see that all types of communities are addressing these issues through codes, policies, ordinances, and resolutions. Bennett, Longmont, Fowler, Fort Collins, Lafayette, Colorado Springs, Durango, Breckenridge, just some of the many Colorado communities that are moving healthy eating and active living forward through partnerships and the leadership of staff and elected officials. All that said, I just wanted to say thank you, and we look forward to continuing our partnership with you to put Wheat Ridge on the map, not just as a place, but a place to invest, a place to live, a place to go to school, and a place to recreate. Thank you very much.
Please spell your last name for the record.
Good evening. I'm Dr. William Gillespie, Gillaspie. Mayor Trillo, City Council members, thank you for this opportunity this evening. I'm a family practice physician at the Kaiser Wheat Ridge office, located just north of I-70 on Ward Road. I'm here tonight to support community design that's going to promote physical activity. What we do in primary care is prevention, and one of the best ways we can get people to prevent medical problems is just being physically active. Obesity leads to so many things that I see in my office every day.
We need to keep the focus on the approval of the FDP and the project here tonight. Can you have anything that addresses the project completely on that end, rather than right now we're not really discussing health and active living through this process?
Thank you, City Council, for approving a multi-use trail. And I would like to ask you to continue to promote its use, whether it be with water fountains, shade trees, benches along those lines, whether it's crosswalks through this development, or even making it easy to walk between the Applewood Center and the Clear Creek Crossing. I know you've had many hearings on this, and I just want to put our support through Kaiser with walkability and physical activity behind this. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else here to speak on item number 8? Move on to council questions and discussion. Ms. Berry.
Well, I agree with the concepts from Liboa Wheat Ridge. I think that their recommendation of tying further discussion with RTD to a certificate of occupancy would be kind of difficult. It's not a very definitive standard, and to tie it to something like being able to use and occupy the building, I think is really difficult. I think the applicant had said during the ODP, and we could reaffirm this, that they will continue to talk to RTD. But what you're proposing, I think, is just not definitive enough to be enforceable. And I would hate to tie up the certificate of occupancy, because so much has been invested to that point on something that's not, it would be very difficult to tell whether it's really been met or not.
Mr. Reinhardt?
Yeah, just a real quick pony on that, and then I'd got to go back to Councilor Dahl. We don't tie our developments to outcomes that are completely out of the control of the applicant, and I think that's what we'd be doing in this case, and I wouldn't want to shut this whole project down because of RTD's particular bureaucracies or wants and needs. Mr. Dahl? I did not get it. Would you try again and explain to me what would go if we move forward with this without the final note, what the negative consequences of that would be?
Sure. When the city approves a subdivision, there are usually public improvements required to serve that subdivision. Streets, lighting, water, sewer, those kinds of things. And while some of those requirements are shown on the plat of the subdivision, for example, there's a lot of construction that will be required of public improvements to serve this particular subdivision. It's kind of a unique subdivision. It's not your usual residential subdivision, but nevertheless, their improvement's going to be required. When the city does that, we have subdivision improvements agreements that not only list the improvements to be built and the amount of quantities of linear feet of sidewalk and curb and gutter, et cetera, but also require the posting of a bond to cover the cost of that construction if the subdivider does not perform. Warranty requirements for the improvements that are going to be built, but then given to the city, dedicated to the city. These are all the things that are normally in our subdivision improvements agreement. If it were not true that we were also at the same time negotiating an intergovernmental agreement with the Longs Peak Metropolitan District, which will construct most of these improvements, if that weren't on the radar screen, we'd really need a full subdivision improvements agreement. But we do have the Longs Peak Metro District, and we are negotiating an intergovernmental agreement with them that will provide for millions of dollars worth of these public improvements. But I will tell you, all of the drafts that we've done of that IGA haven't gotten down to, have not covered all of the things that we normally cover in an SIA. And among them would be security for construction, warranties that we would get on the improvements that are going to be built. Now, we could plug all that conceivably into the intergovernmental agreement with the Longs Peak District, but the structure of that agreement wouldn't really lend itself to doing the kind of garden variety SIA protections for the city. And that's why I'm recommending we have an SIA that covered just those things the agreement with the Longs Peak District doesn't.
And how's that break down, though, with a property that's, each individual parcel here is going to come through with a final development plan of some type, and there's a variety of ownerships that may or be in existence at that time. So how does the master agreement above that, won't we essentially be having an SIA for each subsequent final development plan in any event, and isn't that ultimately somewhat redundant?
Not necessarily, honestly. There are a number of these pads, I think, or these lots that once the improvements built under the IGA with the Longs Peak District are built, I think we're largely done. There may be some, at the time of development, we may have some sort of sub-SIAs, if you will, just for an individual lot. But I wouldn't be comfortable, for example, making sure we have warranty language on all of the roads that are going to be dedicated to us. The place that needs to go is in an SIA with the present developer that's in front of you. Because that's when we're going to get the dedication off of this plat.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments before I close the public hearing? I just want to make a quick comment. I wanted to thank staff and the applicant for the long process that we've been going through this. I think that based on my recollection, I was on council when this started 6 years ago, over 6 years ago, and there's been a lot of changes in players, but the applicant's been, I believe, implementing best practices for pedestrian access, for bicyclists, consumers. I think that this project is going to be very well received once it's built and ready to go. So I would have to agree with some of the council members that tying a CO to an RTD would be detriment to this project, considering the amount of money that's been spent by the applicant and by the taxpayers getting this project going forward. It was also mentioned by the applicant at the last public hearing that they will continue to have discussions with RTD to bring that forth and any time that could happen. So the applicant will continue working with RTD in the future. So I just wanted to thank everybody for their hard work. Patrick Goff, our city manager, who's put forth the extra effort here in the last year or so. City attorney, all of our staff in the community development who's really worked hard on this, and the council who's put forth the effort to hang in the pocket through this process for the last 7 years or so. So with that, I'm going to close the public hearing, and a motion's in order.
Now, this is pretty good stuff. So here we go. For the future of Wheat Ridge and its citizens, it is my pleasure to move to approve Resolution Number 11, 2011, a resolution approving a 15-lot subdivision plat on property zone plan commercial development located at 4000 Cabela Drive and 4105 Youngfield Service Road, case number WS 1101, Clear Creek Crossing, for the following reasons. 1, all requirements of Article 4 of the Zoning and Development Code have been met. 2, it will accommodate the new development scenario for the property. 3, Planning Commission recommends approval with the following conditions. 1, a note identifying the use of tracks B, C, and D must be added. 2, the easement note on sheet 1 be modified to indicate that 10-foot easements are hereby dedicated around the perimeter of lots, tracks, parcels, and/or open space areas. 3, the public works comments be addressed prior to plat recordation, Exhibit 4 of Planning Commission staff report. 4, the 60-foot ingress-egress easement, Block 1, Lot 2, be reestablished as previously shown. And number 5, Mr. Dahl.
A subdivision improvements agreement shall be executed for those matters not addressed in the intergovernmental agreement with the Longs Peak Metropolitan District.
Is there a second? We have a motion for approval, seconded by Councilmember Adams. Discussion on the main motion as amended. We have item 5 on the list. Mr. Stites?
Just real quick, if this passes tonight, I'd like to welcome Cabela's and the future businesses going in out there. I think a lot of people have put in a lot of time and effort on this project, and I see nothing but benefits for them and for us and for the citizens, and so I would just like to welcome you to Wheat Ridge. Thank you.
Any other comments? Please poll the council.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is ordinances on first reading. The purpose of first reading is to notify the public of the date and time of the public hearing. Amendments are allowed on first reading. Public comments is not allowed on first reading. Meredith, would you mind raising the screen, please? Item 5 is Council Bill 17-2011. Councilmember Berry.
Yes, Council Bill 17-2011, an ordinance amending Chapter 26 to support urban agriculture uses and activities. In the past, the city has received interest in urban agriculture. The planning staff has received several inquiries related to urban agriculture, such as whether community gardens are allowed on vacant lots or backyards, and whether greenhouses will be allowed on the same lot as a business or restaurant. For most of these topics, the current zoning code contains little or no regulations. Due to the large interest in growing and selling produce in the city, the proposed ordinance would amend Chapter 26 to clarify what urban agriculture uses are allowed in various zone districts. The proposed ordinance establishes where 3 main uses, urban gardens, farmer markets, and produce stands, are allowed and includes minimal regulations for each use. Is motion in order?
Motion's in order.
I move to approve Council Bill 17-2011, an ordinance amending Chapter 26 to support urban agriculture uses and activities. Order it published, public hearing set for Monday, May 23rd at 7 p.m. in City Council chambers, and that it take effect 15 days after final publication with the following amendment: that urban gardens on residentially zoned lots where the primary use is a single-family or two-family home be subject to the site plan review process rather than the special use permit process.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion for approval on first reading. It was seconded by Councilmember Langworthy and Reinhardt. Please poll the council.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you. Item 6 is Council Bill 18-2011. Councilmember Reinhardt.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce Council Bill number 18-2011, an ordinance adopting amendments to the 2006 International Building Code as previously adopted by reference, concerning conveyance requirements and certain reference standards. The State of Colorado Division of Oil and Public Safety regulates conveyances, elevators in particular, and prescribes their minimum safety standards. The current adopted state standards are not fully included in the standards that the city has adopted by reference in 2006 International Building Code. This ordinance would bring our building code into compliance with state standards. Is a motion in order?
Motion's in order.
I move to approve Council Bill Number 18-2011, an ordinance approving amendments to the 2006 International Building Code previously adopted by reference and concerning conveyance requirements and certain reference standards on first reading, and order it published for a public hearing set on Monday, May 23rd, 2011 at 7 p.m. in City Council chambers, and that it takes effect 15 days after final publication.
Is there a second? Second. We have a motion for approval, seconded by Councilmember Sang. Please poll the council.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you. Item 7 is Council Bill 19-2011. Councilmember Langworthy.
Thank you, Mayor. Council Bill Number 19-2011, an ordinance amending Section 15-4 of the Wheat Ridge Code of Laws to define landscaping for nuisance enforcement purposes. Whether or not to define landscaping in Chapter 15 concerning nuisances to clarify that the city's officers may pursue nuisance abatement for dead and dying trees and other specific types of deteriorated landscaping. Is there a motion in order?
Motion's in order.
I move to approve Council Bill Number 19-2011, an ordinance amending Section 15-4 of the Wheat Ridge Code of Laws to define landscaping for nuisance enforcement purposes on first reading, order it published, public hearing set for Monday, May 23rd, 2011 at 7 p.m. in the City Hall Council chambers, and that it take effect 15 days after final publication.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion for approval. It was seconded by Councilmember Jay. Please poll the council.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you. We have no decisions, resolutions, or motions. We moved item 8 up, so we'll move on to city managers matters.
Great. Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to also thank staff, Ken's department and Tim's department and our city attorney for all their hard work on getting the Cabela's project to this spot, and also the city council and mayor for their patience and support. Thank you.
Thank you. City attorneys matters?
Well, I echo the city manager's comments. It's been a long process.
You have 3 doors for that?
It's been great to have your support all the way through over all these years. Every single council that's addressed this has been not only supportive, but they've been watchful of the city's interests all the way through, and we have really appreciated your guidance because we're just staff, and you're the ones that have to give us the direction on the policy level, and we have really needed that and have always gotten it, and we appreciate having that.
City clerks matters?
Actually, I wanted to just say a couple things about the upcoming election. A lot of requests coming in, potential candidates, so I thought I'd share with anybody that's interested a few dates you'll want to know about and some information that will be helpful to you if you're considering running for one of the positions open. And by the way, we have, as usual on the odd years, we'll have one of each, or one council member position up for election in each of the 4 districts, as well as the city clerk and the treasurer. So the dates that you'll want to know about, first off, we'll hold, as we do every municipal election year, I will hold a potential candidates forum, and this would be for anybody interested, including anybody who might be intending to help out on a campaign committee, or anybody that just is curious about how elections go and how campaign financing works. We'll talk about the requirements for candidates, things you'll need to know to keep yourself out of trouble and to do the right thing. That takes place on July 7th, 7 o'clock p.m., and anybody is welcome to attend. The next 2 dates that are very important are that time period when candidates must collect petition signatures in order to be eligible for their name to be on the ballot, and that window takes place between August 2nd and August 22nd. So they cannot be picked up until the morning of the 2nd in my office, and they must be returned then on August 22nd by 5 p.m. With 25 signatures of eligible registered electors. Following that, we'll then hold another forum which will be just for candidates, and that is the time when we pull names from a hat. There'll be a lot drawing that determines the placement of candidates' names on the ballot, and then we'll answer further questions about campaign finance regulations and such. Any other questions, you're welcome to contact me in the clerk's office anytime. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Councilmember DeMott?
Nothing tonight, thanks.
Councilmember Jay?
Britta already announced it, but I really want to reconfirm the date of May 17th, which is the public information system or information meeting about 38th Avenue. Anybody who's really interested in the progress on 38th Avenue, that is a great meeting. It'll be at the middle school, May 17th, 6:30.
Thank you. Councilor Stites?
Oh, yeah. Driving into work this morning, driving around over the weekend, I happened to notice a lot of weeds starting to pop up. So we need to take special care about that. I would ask any business or commercial to check their parking lots, make sure all the weeds are cut. If you have a home in Wheat Ridge, make sure your weeds are cut, because if you don't do it, probably code enforcement will do it for you. So we're starting to see a lot of movement on 38th Avenue, but it is an excellent time to relocate your business or home to Wheat Ridge. If you need any help, their staff, or check with one of us. Please try to do a positive thing for your neighbors, which leads me back to the first point on weeds. You know, if you have elderly neighbors or anything that do not have equipment, help them out. You know, it's not going to hurt you to help them out. But we got to take pride in our community, and you got to start now, and don't let this thing get out of control. And as always, please try to find it and buy it in Wheat Ridge. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Langworthy?
I just, for point of clarification, you stated Sunday, but I think your little flyer says Saturday, May 14th. I want to make sure people don't come to the firehouse on Sunday expecting all the fun that you did on Saturday at your house. So it'll be Saturday, May 14th from 9 to noon at the Wheat Ridge Fire Department. And I also want to thank Chief Brennan and your staff for putting together the safety rodeo that you did over at Wheat Ridge Middle School. And I'm glad that all those people got new child safety seats that needed them, because they're our most precious resource, and to protect them is very important. And also huge turnout on the drug Take Back Day. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Adams?
Thank you. For the record, Ms. Langworthy, I'm going to go ahead and name for the record, so we can get it in the minutes, the agencies that were pulled together for that safety day, because it was an effort that is noteworthy as far as how many organizations were involved. Wheat Ridge Police Department, the Wheat Ridge Fire Department, the Wheat Ridge 2020, Wheat Ridge Cyclery, Wheat Ridge FOP Lodge 24, Colorado Department of Transportation, First Bank, Exempla Lutheran Medical Center, Hispanidad, and Servicio de la Reza, if I said that right. I'm going to pass this down so we can get those organizations' names on the record, for thanking them for putting that entire safety day together for our citizens. I think we'll probably build on that. It's very easy to have days that you celebrate and try to serve the community, but to be able to get that many organizations to pull together is truly, truly phenomenal. Thank you to our Wheat Ridge Police Department for starting it, and for the rest of the organizations for jumping on board. We're most appreciative. Something else, speaking of the Wheat Ridge Police Department, we do, and I think this is just the second year we've done this, Hooked on Fishing, and I have a phone number of Mary McKenna. She's one of our service officers, code officers that help with code enforcement, and she is heading this up, I believe. What is the organization? I can't remember, Dan, that spearheaded it for Mary. I can't remember the help.
Work with Division of Wildlife.
There you go. Yeah, that was easy. Okay, the Division of Wildlife. And I'm going to give you, Mary's phone number is 303-235-2998, and the date is, let's see here, Thursday. No, it's a Tuesday. It's a Tuesday from 8 to 12, and it's for young adults, little children that can come and go fishing. And they're setting that up, and they have about 10 or 12 volunteers, but they're going to be advertising in the schools to get the children there. It was pretty successful last year, so I wanted to give that a little plug.
And it's Tuesday, June 7th.
Tuesday, thanks. June 7th from 8 to 12. Thanks, Chief. That's all I have.
Thank you. Ms. Singh?
I have nothing tonight, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Berry?
I just wanted to say it's Public Employees Week, and The City of Wheat Ridge, we don't manufacture widgets, we provide services, and those services are provided by our employees. And I think that we have a very dedicated and talented group of employees who provide exceptional services to our city, who've been here a long time, who are very committed to the city and to professional quality service. And elected officials may come and go, but the employees are here through the long haul, helping out the citizens and taking pride in the community and in their work. And I just wanted to say thank you. There is a citizens group that has gotten together to try to promote recycling in the city, and they are called Sustainable Wheat Ridge, and they will be meeting tomorrow night at the Active Adult Center, also known as the Senior Center, and they're meeting at 6:45, and they would like to have as many people show up as possible who are willing to help out in looking at those and exploring those issues. The Colorado Municipal League has a policy committee, and I've been representing the City of Wheat Ridge on the policy committee for several years. We are going to be having our second to last meeting this week, and it will be a teleconference, and the policy committee basically helps set the policy for municipal issues and what stand we'll take on state and federal legislative issues. And it would be great to pass the baton to someone. So if you're interested in serving on the policy committee, if you would like to contact me, I could tell you what it takes, and maybe if you'd like to participate in the meeting this week. And if you have any suggestions for improved policy, just let me know. Thank you.
Mr. Reinhardt? Well, can you go ahead and turn your mic on?
I'd like to thank the Mayor's Office for again sponsoring a City of Wheat Ridge team and the Colfax Marathon Relay. We will be, there are several of us running, the city manager, the city attorney, myself, the mayor's daughter, and an officer sailor from the police department. And we thank him for putting us forward. Last year we managed to win a little award. Hopefully we'll do it again. Although I do have my doubts whether he had our best interest in mind when suggesting we go for a run on a Sunday morning instead of a walk. So, thank you, Jerry.
Good luck. I think you guys will do well. Sarah's been practicing all year.
I've been practicing for about a week.
I've had quite a few contacts from citizens about the Wheat Ridge Housing Authority and 44th and Wadsworth now that they see dirt moving. And so a couple of council members and some citizens asked me to read into the record and to broadcast on Channel 8 what's really going on out at 44th and Wadsworth and where's the Housing Authority on this, because the Housing Authority was addressing rental property versus home ownership. So I wanted to read this email and then back up with an update on this email that went out. But it's a positive thing that what's going on at 44th and Wadsworth, but I wanted to address, of course, we have rumors once again in the city of Wheat Ridge that what's going to happen at 44th and Wadsworth. So I just wanted to address some of the things that's been mentioned, and I'll read this email to the community. It says, once again, the rumors are flying high around the redevelopment of 44th and Wadsworth, 500 low-income apartments, 200 low-income apartments, 10-story buildings, the look and feel of Harlem, New York. And the facts of at 44th and Wadsworth are that there's going to be 88 new workforce affordable apartments, not Section 8 or low income. And workforce and affordable housing is not considered to be four-letter words. That's people who need to find a place to live that's a quality location. The city has new and improved architectural design standards for these types of developments. These apartments will be age-restricted to 65 years or older. And I want to remind people that the U.S. population is getting older and that a lot of baby boomers are hitting that 60 to 65-year age, and that some of those folks are looking for to still stay active, but they don't want to necessarily have a yard to work on. So they may be selling their houses and moving to this type of development where they can still be active but not worry about yard work. The WASI Partners does not build and peel. They retain ownership and maintain their properties. And, you know, the thing is, what I've heard from people is saying to me, well, you were on the Wheat Ridge Housing Authority and you wanted to eliminate rentals. And I've always said rentals are not the problem. It's the absentee landlords that we dealt with who do not take care of their property. That's always been the problem in the city of Wheat Ridge, and that's why the Wheat Ridge Housing Authority was formed. When we had the Wheat Ridge Housing Authority, we never said that quality rentals were the problem. We supported home ownership and created HOAs with our redevelopment projects. The problem has been absentee landlords who let their property fall into disarray and rent to anybody that comes along without background checks or any type of supporting documentation. Almost every multifamily property that was purchased had an owner who lived out of state and used a substandard property manager to manage the properties. As the former chair of the Wheat Ridge Housing Authority, when I spoke about rental properties in the city of Wheat Ridge, the articles and the comments were always referenced absentee landlords in the text. So what we're not going to have here is absentee landlords. We're trying to address a housing issue in our city. Our message has to be clear. We do support home ownership, yes. Do we support quality and well-maintained rental properties? Yes. And do we support absentee landlords who let their properties become an eyesore with criminal activity? And that's no. Nobody on city council or staff level is supporting these types of properties. One other question that was asked is why isn't the Wheat Ridge Housing Authority purchasing multifamily units and rehabbing those like we did 6-7 years ago? The Wheat Ridge Housing Authority continues to adapt with times and has made good decisions with little or no overhead costs. Additionally, the Wheat Ridge Housing Authority has not purchased any multifamily properties because potential buyers cannot acquire a condo or townhouse loans. That's just the nature of the business right now. If you want to buy a condo or a townhouse, most banks, because of the recession, because of the banking problems that happened the last 5 years, you cannot buy a condo or a townhouse with a loan. You have to actually pay cash for it or have other means of financing. And then what I wanted to also address was this email refers to the east side of the property, Upham only. The remainder of the property is still under negotiations for commercial and retail uses with potential businesses and developers. The entire property was rezoned to mixed-use commercial a few months ago back by City Council. Jefferson County has backed out of the project along with the library to their financial constraints. Plans for the property are being developed as the developer has just acquired their financing, and those plans may be seen by contacting Steve Art at City Hall, eventually at 720-454-8040. On another note, the Wheat Ridge Housing Authority continues to buy single-family and duplex rental properties and converts them into owner-occupied homes as before. The Wheat Ridge Housing Authority recently purchased 7 rental properties from the Jefferson County Housing Authority, and these rentals will be rehabilitated and sold to first-time home buyers. So I had to bring all this together as about why the Wheat Ridge Housing Authority wasn't addressing rental properties, which they are, and why we're addressing rental properties at this location. It's what the market will bear, and it makes sense at this location on the Upham side of the property with our new mixed-use zoning districts and our new architectural design standards. So then lastly, I wanted to thank, we had our progressive ribbon cutting back in 2009 with staff and elected officials, and we had a new progressive ribbon cutting and re-grand opening. So I want to welcome 6 new businesses for 38th Avenue. We have the Sons of Italy. They're at 38th and Fenton. We have Master Goldsmith and Designer. He's on the other end of the Sons of Italy. We have Reina Styles and Salon on 38th Avenue. Posey Girl Floral Design. She's actually in the old location for Big Sky Espresso. Michelli's Shoes is actually a second store. There's one store in Applewood, and there's one store now on 38th Avenue, and he purchased the old Parati building. And Pat told me that basically what he's seeing is women go out to the Applewood store and men are going to the 38th Avenue store for shoes. So he's got both the best worlds over there. And then, of course, we have our Dragonfly Coffee and Cafe, which sells sandwiches and drinks. They also sell a whole array of sauces for meats and stews and whatever you want to put sauce on, hot and spicy sauces. So we have some great new businesses on 38th Avenue. Like Councilmember Stites has said, it's a great time to be in the city of Wheat Ridge, whether it's on 38th Avenue. We've got some great businesses on 44th Avenue also coming forth, Mod Mood, and some great locations, which is west of Wadsworth. So I want to thank the staff and the city council for moving forward on these types of projects. So with that, we're adjourned.